everybody. Welcome to Tape Crusaders, the world's greatest podcast. We are here to talk about a movie that we know you love. I am your co-host, Mike L., and as always, I'm joined by
Joshua Mervell. And yeah, today we're going to be taking a look at the 1989 Punisher film.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not the one with Thomas Jane, not the one with, what's the other guy's name? Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
We're talking about the one with Dolph Lundgren. And we're joined by our co-host, Champion.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to your Punisher thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, this movie came out in 1989, the same year as Tim Burton's Batman.
Another obscure film that nobody's seen.
Right, yeah.
Well, here's the thing is I think Marvel kind of thought, oh, you got Batman? Well, what do we got here? We got Punisher. This is our answer to Batman. So, not quite.
I'm curious because I don't know any of this stuff.
Sure.
Any of the backstory behind how these things came to be.
Sure.
Batman, well respected.
Right.
Credited as sort of kick-starting the superhero genre.
That was
but,
Superman, actually.
Well, I mean, the craze among it that we sort of have to this day.
Okay,
Right.
okay, fine.
Superman existed on its own.
Sure.
Batman opened the floodgates
I agree.
for the respectability of the genre in a
Okay.
sense. Now, did Marvel look at Batman and say, "Hey, we have to do this," or were they had to have been doing it at the same time?
Well, that's a good question. I think what it was there was always things in pre-production and in development at the time because like they would always release these little like teases in their bullpen bulletins, like, oh, coming soon, Silver Surfer movie, and then it just wouldn't come out. Spider-Man has been signed, and it just wouldn't come out. So I have a feeling that once the Batman production started getting traction, they kind of went, oh, okay, what can we do that's easy, that's low budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, Punisher, he has no superpowers. There's no special effects. It's just a guy on a motorcycle. He doesn't really have a costume, kind of. But I have a feeling that's what it was. They basically just said, what can we do that's cheap? And what can we get out that's quick?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I can see the parallels.
Mhm.
Like, family dies, becomes vigilante, fighting crime, only hunts down the bad
Definitely
guys.
parallels,
You know,
yeah.
I can kind of see it. But I think in the premise is kind of like where it stops. Like these are very, very different movies.
Sure, no, I'm just saying that like they could have said, oh, well, they're doing Batman, we'll do Spider-Man, or we'll do Captain America, which they did do Captain America. But instead they used Punisher, which, Ian, what you're trying to say is this is a more obscure Marvel character, especially at the time.
Mhm.
He was definitely around, but he wasn't even the top like 12 or 15 of popularity for the characters. I think it was more just that they knew they could do it with no budget. I think that's why they picked Punisher.
Right.
Yeah. So this movie comes out. They cast Dolph Lundgren, who everybody knows from Rocky IV. Everyone loves from Rocky IV. I just rewatched it last summer. It's awesome.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Great movie. Watch it right now. By the way, you know there's a director's cut of that came out like within the last
Really?
2 years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Like an extended, different director's cut.
How extended?
Like I think it's different enough they give it a different name.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not even called Rocky IV now. It's called Godfather 3. No, it has like a different name. But anyway, maybe we'll screen that one night at Meteor. But anyway, so this movie comes out. I think it was supposed to be the next big thing. It wasn't. I think it went straight to video. Again, we refused to do research on the show, so we don't know. But it certainly did not get a big release. It kind of came and went. No one saw it. I saw it at some point in the early 90s. Like as soon as it was available, I saw it. Okay? So that was 30 years ago? Tonight was the first time I'd seen it in 30 years, and gosh darn it, I got to say, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Ian,
No.
what do you think?
We've been screening some films here for a few months now. And I have to say, some real stinkers, but some real decent films too. I'd have to say that we got the best crowd reaction from this film.
Whoa, that's
you know what?
everything.
Maybe, yeah.
And I mean,
I think you might be right. Well, Batman got a good reaction.
Batman got a good reaction, but this, everyone was into it. Everyone was oohing and awing. Everyone was like, oh, when something happened.
Yeah.
Everyone was engaged. Now, that doesn't mean it's
It means something.
near.
It
Yeah.
means something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
I
but-
don't think that the oohs and ahs and laughs were the intent
No.
of the filmmakers.
No, not at all.
but
Not at all. We
it-
we laughed a little more
Yeah.
than I think the filmmakers intended.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what made the film enjoyable for sure.
Of course.
I think watching this on my own, I would have felt maybe a little bit differently than I did watching it with everybody.
Well, let me
right?
tell you, when I found the legitimate Blu-ray copy
Right.
that I purchased with money, I watched half an hour or so. No, I probably watched about half the film. I kind of got sucked in
Sure.
by
Yeah,
its lunacy.
Sure.
But it is not as fun to watch on your own. You
Yeah.
just like here watching with people, you're kind of like cringing and you're
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you're enjoying it with people for its ridiculousness, but at home it's just like
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing. Okay, my first impression, I'm going to break it down. The lighting was shit.
darkest film I've ever seen.
But actually, I just thought it was flat. It just thought like, again, we've talked about this on this podcast. If you're going to shoot like, three guys on this stage, there's a million ways to do it. You can have lights like this, you can have fog, you can have different angles. But in this movie, it's like, let's just set up the guys in a room with white walls and get the flattest, most boring light possible
Right.
on the crappiest set. So that was all garbage. But I started to notice as the movie was going, I'm like, the directing is not bad. The editing is not bad. Like when they throw not a ninja star, but what are those balls called with the spikes?
Yeah,
sticking out
I
of
don't
them?
know what it
and
is,
it
but
kind of like zeroes in on it. I was like, there's a few cool tricks.
Mhm.
And so again, we don't really do research on the show, but I looked it up. So this was directed by Mark Goldblatt, who is famous as an editor, and he's edited some famous films like Terminator 1, Terminator 2,
Mhm.
The Howling, Commando, RoboCop,
I think one of the Predator movies.
Predator
yeah.
2,
Mhm.
The Last Boy Scout, Universal Soldier, Super Mario Brothers, the original, Tombstone, True Lies, Showgirls, The Rock, Starship Troopers, Armageddon, Detroit Rock City, Hollow Man,
Well,
Pearl
a
Harbor,
lot of-
Bad Harbor,
lot
Bad
of-
Boys
lot
2.
of movies.
But his best movie, obviously, was Jumpin' Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg. But anyway, so clearly an A-list editor.
Right.
Not necessarily a great director, but he's got film experience. And this is one of those movies where even if it wasn't Punisher, even if it wasn't a Marvel film, I think it would have a little bit of life to it as just being kind of like a decent action schlock film. What do you think, Ian?
I think you're right. The editing was nowhere near as flat as the lighting.
Yeah.
It
Right.
was in service of an insufferably bad film.
Yes.
But when things were whipping around, things were quick. Things didn't drag on. There were parts of the movie that certainly dragged on, but the action scenes, well, I guess they kind of dragged on too.
Well,
but-
but they weren't horrible.
Yeah.
weren't
They
horrible.
didn't feel like, when's this gonna end?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Things are happening. I don't know. If things are happening,
Let's
is
put
the
it
best
this way.
I can
The
say about this
script
movie.
is stupid.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
terrible.
really bad.
Some of the dialogue is funny, like good and funny.
yeah.
Unintentionally funny though.
But like, there's a few clever. Like the script isn't horrible. Like some of it's horrible, but some of it's okay.
Some of it works.
Yeah.
I think when it works, Punisher is not on screen.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that the cop is the best character in the movie.
Lou Gossett Jr.
He-
Yes.
the actor is fantastic. His like one-liners don't feel like one-liners, you know,
Right.
like pointing at. It's like I don't know. It feels real, like grounded with him.
well, Lou
Yeah.
Gossett Jr. was the only actor in this film.
Yeah,
He's
really.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a real. Yeah. He's an actual real actor.
They could have caught a stunt double to play the Punisher. Like, what does Dolph bring besides like the look? You know what I mean?
You're on a
Like,
first name basis with him now. Is that no, yeah.
But,
no, I know you're
you
right.
know, like what? Like he doesn't bring
he brings the
anything
look
to the character.
He brings the look.
Yeah.
He's huge. He's like
He
cool.
brings
looking.
Yeah.
full rear end nudity.
Yes,
Right,
the
yeah.
rear end nudity is important.
And like you can tell why they casted him when you see him next to everybody else because he just towers over them.
Yes.
Like it's crazy. But then when he's by himself, I'm like, oh, it's so boring. Like he has no charisma. He's got like no emotion.
Yep.
And like obviously I don't want the Punisher to be zany or
No.
like showing emotion all the time, but there's like nothing.
No, I agree.
You'd like him to be clever.
Yeah,
Right.
You'd like him to have maybe some acerbic wit to him.
Yes.
the way that he says
Exactly.
his lines. He's also a sad, depressing character. Like
Very much.
like you know, his whole motivation is that he saw his wife and 2 little children die. There's
He
never
didn't just
a
see them
moment,
die. He saw them explode.
Right? Yeah, like the most insane.
Right,
and the whole movie, he's just like
He's
talking monotone, like not looking.
He's-
It's just I don't know.
he's
There's
not an,
nothing.
I'm sorry, but he's not really an actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
like when he delivers these lines, like that could be even Arnold Schwarzenegger
I
knows
was
how to
just thinking that.
spin a line to make it funny.
You know,
but he does not know.
He's
Dolph
got
Lundgren.
some charisma.
Yeah.
I was
Schwarzenegger.
just thinking about
Yes,
Schwarzenegger would have
yes.
been a much better cast in this movie because at least it wouldn't be flat. At
Right.
least there would be
Right.
like more camp in his
Yes,
voice and like
yes.
how he's reacting to things. Like somewhere in between like the zany Schwarzenegger and then Terminator
Sure.
Schwarzenegger, right? Where he's
Right.
got that like serious like
But even when he
robotic
was,
and then-
even when he was serious flat Terminator, he still put a spin.
yeah,
He-
for
right?
sure.
He still knew how to make it
Yeah.
funny, but Dolph Lundgren, I'm sorry, doesn't know how to do it. Lou Gossett
Mm-hmm.
Jr., as we said, is an actual real actor, so he was great in this movie. I've got the cast here. I'm sorry, I don't even know. The girl was Kim Miyori, who I guess was insane elsewhere. She was okay. There was nothing wrong
Yeah.
with her. She was fine, right? Then I have to say the bad guy was I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Joroen Kabbé, who we know from nothing. No, but he was in The
He had-
Fugitive. He was in Soldier of Orange, The Fourth Man.
He's done a lot of acting.
Yeah.
Just not stuff that we
Right.
No,
yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone knows this guy. If you see him, you'll know him. He's like a real actor too.
Yeah,
He's like
I recognize him from various episodes of television shows
Yes.
that I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Right, like I spent a lot of time looking at him and saying, "Where the hell do I know this guy
yeah,
from?"
exactly. He's
Yeah.
like a real actor.
His performance was unremarkable.
It was. I thought it was fine.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It meshed well with the lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was pretty unremarkable. And then when he was on screen with Punisher, I feel like I was like, oh, I kind of like this guy a little bit more. But
Yeah,
I think maybe because the acting with Dolph Lundgren was just so bland that I'm like,
But he was
this
also
guy's
like-
kind of
Yeah,
charismatic. I
Dolph's
like
doing
him.
something and something is happening. Too,
Right, yeah.
Someone is.
But I kind of
Yeah.
like how I actually got to say one twist in the movie I like is the fact that Punisher had to team up with the main bad guy
Yeah.
in order to help him rescue his kid. That's a pretty good twist. And the whole time they were interacting together, this guy was not acting like a cliche bad guy. He was just acting like a guy
Mhm.
that wanted to rescue his son. So I thought that I appreciated that. Like I thought it was pretty good. It's almost
Yeah.
like, if you have the dials of the movie, like the lighting, the editing, it feels like if you tweaked a couple, like, okay, better lighting, maybe a little bit better script, it could have been like a decent movie.
Mhm.
There's like a decent movie, maybe. What do you think, Ian? No possibility of a decent movie?
There's just too many ridiculous things.
Okay.
Too many things that don't work. Too many things that I don't know, that I could see what they were going for, but all right, case in point.
Okay.
When they've got the Punisher and they're stretching him out on the rack
Right.
Yeah.
and they're trying to torture him into giving out some information. Is it just me, or did it like not seem that he was in any discomfort at all? It
Well,
just,
that's because Dolph Lundgren is
Yeah.
shit as an actor.
Yeah.
well, the same, like it was just the set and the camera angles, and it didn't give
Okay.
any sort of a sense of what he was going through.
Yeah.
And that extended to
You know what?
when his
Shake.
Mhm.
Shake.
shake.
Yeah, isn't that what his name was? Shake or Shakes?
Oh, you mean the helper?
Yeah.
The-
Like the
yeah.
homeless
Yeah,
man. That,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're right. There was no sense of peril for Shakes
Mhm.
No,
at all.
no.
At all. Or even like Lou Gossett Jr. When the girl had who was it? Who laid the gun to
it
his
was
head?
the-
walk in with
Yeah,
the-
okay.
yeah.
Even that was like not. It didn't. They didn't.
Although
sell
at
it.
least he had like a look in his eyes. Like
Yeah,
he was
okay,
scared,
okay.
right? It was just the only emotion in the film. Really, I don't know.
I guess I don't know. I mean, here we know we have a good editor, but yeah, it's like there was something that was lacking in this film. Like again, we talk about this on this podcast. We're not asking for genius. We're just asking for like you're on a set and you're like shooting the scene and someone puts up their hand and go, "Hey, I know we can fix this." Like just do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's
like,
let's maybe not have 8 scenes of the mafia guys sitting around a table.
Yeah,
Maybe we don't do that so much.
in this weird set again. Like I'm
It looked like it was a boardroom.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, like they probably built the set. So, but okay, let's go back to The Godfather. The Godfather classic opening scene was probably filmed in a real house. Like, just get a real house that looks nice. Why build an ugly set with these walls and these windows and blank white walls and shitty depth of field? It looks like garbage, right?
Yeah.
And they keep going back to it, and then you end up in this. Okay, they introduced the Japanese mafia. The
Yakuza.
The Yakuza.
The who?
The
Yakuza?
Yakuza?
Oh my God, it was garbage. But then all of a sudden, the last third of the movie, they're in a samurai film. Like, it just cut that out. It just doesn't look right. It just looks like shit. Like, the sewer stuff looked okay. I appreciated what they were going for.
The
Although,
motorcycle was a little silly.
Like,
under
driving
there.
through the sewer, that was
But
ridiculous.
Couldn't take that
Yeah.
seriously. I couldn't take him seriously on the motorcycle at all.
Yeah.
Because it's either a close-up shot of his face and he's just doing that look
Yeah.
as he's riding the motorcycle, or it's a wide shot of him just sort of like driving across the frame.
I know.
And
I know.
it looked amateur hour.
You're right. It's either like he's on like it's a close up of him on the motorcycle and it's not actually driving because it's on a blue screen,
yeah.
or it's a stunt double driving by.
Driving by very slowly.
Yeah, exactly, in first gear. The other thing was that reminded me of something else that didn't sit well with me. Oh, I remember in the opening scene in the movie when they're like, who's this mysterious Punisher that's killed 125 people? We don't know. The camera pans over 5 feet and we see a guy rev up a motorcycle and oh, maybe it's that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
come on.
Or at the beginning of the movie, he blows up this mob boss's
know.
house and he steps out of the
poses
house
for the
afterwards and he
camera.
goes, all the reporters are there
I know,
shooting
I
him.
know.
And he just turns back around and the house
Okay,
explodes.
even
You know?
even when I was 13 and I saw that, I was like, that's fucking stupid.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah, that was bad.
And there's things that you can forgive, but it wasn't even cool. It wasn't even like a cool moment for
I
him to
know.
do. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even
at
like
least make it
who
cheesy, but
cares? It was awesome.
Right, but it was just like,
nothing.
no, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then we have the other detective that teams up with Lou Gossett Jr. against his wishes. She's like, I'm the best person for this job.
Right.
And that leads us to this woman who wants to be Lou Gossett Jr.'s partner against his wishes, and she tries to convince him, "Oh, I'm the top of my class. I'm the youngest person to reach this rank and this and that," and he doesn't care. But then she says, "I think that Frank Castle's the Punisher," and that gets his attention. But there was just a conversation where the mayor said, "Stop saying that Frank Castle's the Punisher." Like, everyone thinks that Frank Castle's the Punisher. Why would her saying that get his attention?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Also, too, after saying that, why does she disappear for the rest of the movie? Like she's
right.
just gone.
That's clearly,
and then she's in the the police van with Punisher as they're taking him to jail, and then she gets knocked out, and then again, that's it.
disappears.
Credits roll. We don't see or hear from her ever again.
That's a good point.
Clearly,
I don't even think she's at the end when they're breaking into the mansion afterwards, right? And the cops are chasing. Like, she's just gone.
probably a victim of editing or rewriting or reshooting or whatever. Yeah, you're right. I noticed that too.
I think that what this movie is missing is a main character. Because like,
That's a great point.
Because what does the Punisher do? What is his goal? Like, we get at the beginning, I'm here to punish and kill all the bad guys in the town, but then that's it. I didn't even realize that the main mob boss was the guy that killed Punisher's family until he goes, "Oh, sorry, by the way, about your family. Anyways, can we team up?" And then there's no resolution. I'm like,
Yeah, that was a tragic mistake. I would take it back if I could.
yeah,
you know
like
what?
we don't see him trying to figure out where these guys are. Where's their headquarters? How am I going to get in to kill him? Like there's nothing.
You know what? That's a good point. It kind of goes back to like, where do we start the story? Like, do we start the story with the origin of his family getting killed, or do we start the story with, in the middle of it and then flash back, which they do, but they don't do it right. They don't explain like exactly, because in the comic book, I think he's on a picnic in his family in Central Park, and then there's it's a mafia hit, or like a crossfire thing. I don't remember. They've changed it so many times, but it's not the same thing. But in the movie, yeah, you got to hit it home. Like, who did it? Why did they do it? Who's Frank Castle? What does he do? Because I watched this movie. Was he a cop?
Apparently,
he was a cop.
He was a cop.
Yeah,
yes.
and that's not in the comics, right? As far as I know, I don't think so.
I don't remember him being one. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Why is there a hit out on him?
Right.
Why was his family caught in the crossfire?
Yeah. They don't make it clear. It's not strong. It's not strong. You know what? I do think, though, that I think the script is the weakest part of this movie. And Dolph Lundgren's acting. Those are the two weakest things about this movie. They're tied for last place.
Yeah. So the story and the main character are the worst things about it.
The action's pretty good.
Yeah, there's fun moments for
Yeah.
sure. There's
No?
It's I'm not going to say it's good. It's fun. But it
Okay.
can be fun and terrible. Have either of you seen the Weird Al Yankovic movie UHF?
Of course I have.
Do you remember when they're going through commercials of what's coming up next on U62, and they it's a Weird Al version of Rambo.
Oh,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's doing the Dolph Lundgren face, and he's
Just
just shooting guns and things are
right,
blowing up.
right.
Right.
It's that scene. It's that scene
in the casino.
In the casino.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. Yeah. That one definitely stands out as a not great action scene because there's no action in it. Like, he doesn't do anything.
But it's also funny.
It's
just to be so like callous and just like unload on a room full of people. Okay, let's talk about.
Well, they do that 3 or 4 times in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've never done this before on the show, but let's talk about, based on audience reaction, 3 funniest moments in the film, unintentionally funny. That was one.
Mm-hmm.
And let's try to think of 2 more where we were all like, kind of like, WTF.
Well, I remember one that
in the
When
sewer
he's naked, okay.
twice.
When
2
he's
times.
naked,
Yeah.
2 times.
Probably
the
the same
last shot of the
Probably the
shot
same
of the film.
shot.
Shot of the
Yeah.
film.
Remember this, people.
Yeah, zoom in to his.
There's one scene that I don't think anyone else noticed how ridiculous it was, but I know that you noticed. It's when they were up in the Japanese penthouse and the 4 Yakuza are in the hallway, and Dolph and the mobster, they get them caught in the crossfire, and they're shooting at them both through these paper walls.
Yes.
And then they jump out through the walls to realize that they would have been shooting directly at each other the entire time.
Yes. And Punisher and Lou Gossett Jr. are gone. Yeah. Like, it was just, there's just little moments like that. There was just so many of those little whatever. And I think we all enjoyed it for that reason. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. Like, this movie, because it's funny, because I was thinking about it as we were watching it. I'm like, oh, this is the second Marvel movie. So if this was a Marvel Studios film in 2024, the end of Howard the Duck would have had a cameo of, who's going to be next?
Lou Gossett Jr.
Yeah, Lou
shows
Gossett
up.
Jr. shows up. I'm working on a case, and he's got his little map of all the little pins. And then if this movie was the next one, there would have been a Howard the Duck cameo, and then there would have been a post-credit sequence of Captain America, right? And then that would have been the Avengers. The Avengers film would have been those 3 characters. There you go.
Oh no!
I'd pay to see that in the theater.
I would.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't know what else to say about this film. Is there any? Okay, you got to give us, Ian, something else good about this film. Come on.
Oh,
There's gotta be
I'll give you something interesting.
Okay.
In the course of watching it, I noticed all the police cars were not cars I'd ever seen before. Google the movie. It turns out this film was shot in Australia.
Oh,
Are you serious?
Yep. And all the police cars are Australian market Chrysler Valiants,
Wow.
dressed up to look like American State Patrol cruisers.
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed
this
that.
film was shot
Okay,
in Australia.
here's another thing I noticed. When they were showing the map of the city, I just assumed it was New York, but
Yeah, me
it
too.
wasn't. But what was it?
I don't know.
That's weird.
So
it was like a fictional city.
Could be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that I think about it, I don't think they ever say where they are.
No.
Ever.
No, that's weird. Interesting. Huh. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. It's not good thing,
But
bad
still,
thing.
no, that's an interesting
thing,
fact.
maybe?
So we should say that there was another Punisher movie in the
2004
2000s,
or something like
2004
that,
with,
yeah.
oh, geez. Help me out. What's his name? Come on.
I'm so bad.
Everyone watching this podcast is
Just
now quickly
screaming.
turning off because
Mhm.
we don't do any research. But not Thomas Jane, the other guy.
Yep, the other guy.
See, I'm not supposed to know this stuff.
Ian, have you ever seen any of the Punisher movies?
I have
movies? Well, there's another one with Thomas Jane.
Yeah, it is Thomas Jane.
Oh, okay, Thomas
Yeah,
Jane.
yeah.
And then what's the one after that? The second one, Punisher Warzone.
Warzone.
Punisher movies have they made?
Oh,
are,
they
are
made-
any of them good?
No. Anyway, no. The one with
2008.
the one with Thomas Jane.
Ray Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson, who just passed away
Right,
recently.
that's
Yes,
right,
yes.
Yeah.
So the one with Thomas Jane is the best to me. But the thing is when they made the Thomas Jane one, the Garth Ennis comics had already been out, and Marvel did the stupid thing, and they didn't adapt them. They used them a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say cast John Travolta.
Oh, that's a whole other story. But they've had the chance to do this right many times, and they don't do it right. So that's their third. Oh, sorry. There's a fourth Punisher.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
There's a fourth. Don't forget.
Right,
TV
the TV
the
show,
TV
which is
show,
a pretty
pretty
good
good
adaptation,
and he's
and the
played
actor
by,
is great.
He's played by.
Walking Dead guy.
Yeah, what's his name? The guy who plays
Um,
Shane. We don't do research, folks. Hold on.
Well, we're not
he's
expected
a-
to do Walking
He's
Dead
a very
research.
good actor.
John
Bernthal.
Bernthal.
Yeah.
Holy moly! Let me just say one thing. Dolph Lundgren is like a giant, 6 foot whatever. Thomas Jane is a giant. Ray Stevenson is a giant.
John Bernthal's a tiny guy, I
He's
think,
a
right?
tiny guy, and it makes him better because the whole appeal of John Bernthal as Punisher is he could be a regular guy, but he's just, it's almost like, the Rocky Balboa thing. He's just tough as nails, and he'll take a beating and keep coming back. And so anyway, the Punisher
in the comic book, is there any indication of how big the Frank Castle
I think
is?
he's kind of big.
I think he's kind of bigger than average,
but-
but it's kind of like they always change it anyway. But I'm just saying that the TV show version is my favorite by far because it just makes him seem like this is just a regular guy that's really clever.
Mhm.
Because the action movie cliche with Jean-Claude Van Damme or what's the other guy from that era? The asshole, the big tall guy who's an asshole. The big huge guy who's in all those movies, like, out for justice, marked for death. That guy.
Never seen a single one.
No,
of those
you know what I'm
movies.
talking about. You know him. He like, Jean-Claude Van Damme's like rival from the early 90s. You know what I'm talking
No, I
about.
don't.
Oh, come on. Big, huge action guy. Okay, well, here we go. Okay, here we go, folks.
Just give
a
us
minute.
1 second to
Yeah,
to
we're just
Google
gonna do more
this.
research. Hold on a sec here.
Steven
Seagal. So
Yeah.
when you watch an action movie with Steven Seagal, you just go, oh, obviously he's going to kick everyone's ass,
Mhm.
right? And that's the appeal of Sylvester Stallone's Rocky Balboa, is he is like shorter than average, right?
Mhm.
So it's cool when you see him box Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV because he's outmatched.
He's the
right?
underdog. He's
Yeah,
not
he's the
supposed to
underdog.
win.
And so when what's his name?
John Bernthal.
When he plays Punisher, he seems outmatched by all the bad guys,
Mhm.
but he's clever and he's tough and he's resourceful, right?
It really feels like he's getting his ass beat.
Yes,
too. Like
yes,
in this
yes.
movie, how many times was Frank Castle like slashed or stabbed or like
Oh, like,
throwing stars stuck
all
in his
the
leg all the
times.
time, and he just kind of like
All the time.
I know.
like it's like nothing,
it's phony.
right?
It's
Although
almost,
there was that one time that the guy stepped on his wound.
yeah, they're like rolling around on the ground, and then we cut to a shot where it's completely still, and he's got his leg like
I know.
he
you know
like
what?
slowly steps on it.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
set up with a payoff.
yeah, yeah.
Gotta
There
give him credit.
there was very creative moments in the film where they would like I mentioned earlier about the whatever the ball is with the spikes on it.
Yeah.
Of kind of like showing a close up of it. It's clever to do it, but it also like brought the momentum to a halt. And what you mentioned is the same thing. It's like there's these weird moments in the film where it's almost like they cut them in after of like this glass of water.
Or
Look at
when
this.
the one guy
exactly.
falls onto like the headdress with all like the spikes.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's like, how did he get up there?
I know. Yeah. So anyway, this film, oh boy, what do you say about it? I don't know. Like we kind of said earlier, if it wasn't a Marvel film, I said, if it wasn't a Marvel film, I would still watch it. Would it have any legs?
No.
If this
it didn't have legs now.
If this was not called Punisher, would anyone be watching it at Meteor 30 years later, Ian?
No chance at all. No chance at all. In fact, we almost didn't watch it.
Well, that's neither here nor there, but yeah, that's a good point.
Right? There's nothing... There's nothing about this film that you need to see, right? There's nothing that happens that's important. There's nothing that you can point at and say, well, this scene makes it worth it.
What about when they take that 8-year-old kid and throw him across the room and then hit him across the head with a chair?
All right. That is one thing that kind of stuck out in my head as we were watching it. Not that these scenes were good and not that these child actors were anything special, but that this would have been a great experience for some of those kids. Right? Could you imagine being 7 years old and Dolph Lundgren's going to throw you across the room, right? Tumble into this thing and then break this chair over this guy. Like, that's going to be fun.
Well, here's the thing. There have been some shocking moments in cinema. For example, Assault on Precinct 13. There's a famous scene where like an 8-year-old little girl gets shot and killed. Okay. And it's so shocking that like no one does that in cinema. In this movie, there's a little room full of like 3 or 4 little kids getting taught by like a kindergarten teacher, and the teacher gets shot right in front of them and just
she's holding a giant teddy bear.
And we were all like, everyone in the audience here was like, what the fuck? And we were like laughing because it's so over the top ridiculous, right?
It needed more of that, I think, to be a memorable, lasting movie.
Sure.
I think with somebody else playing Punisher who would like chew up the scenery a little bit more, make those like cheesy dialogue moments work and not just be these like monotone nothingness, it could have been great. Because I mean, it needs more moments like the pizza delivery moment. How amazing was that moment? It was perfect.
Stop. It's the best scene in the movie.
It's the best scene probably in any of the movies we've watched.
Like Tommy Wiseau level. You guys have got the pizza.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
Like,
I forgot about that.
And Lou Gossett Jr. picking up a piece of pizza
and
putting it in his mouth.
Oh my
walking
God.
away.
So good.
We were screaming, laughing.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Everybody was like, it was amazing.
The best. Oh my God.
Yeah, like if it had that level of camp, if it's going to be like a badly written movie, it needs to be campy like this to be memorable and like stay with you, right?
But you know what though? The thing is though, is I think when they filmed that scene, they thought, oh, we got another good scene.
You think so?
I don't know.
This movie doesn't do enough of owning its ridiculousness for any of that to be intentional.
That's fair.
I think they were dead serious. Like I think that when they did that scene, they probably had a little bit of fun, but they thought, oh, we got another clever little moment here. I think they really took themselves seriously. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but oh my God. Even what's his name? What's not Chuckles? What's the guy's name? The helper? Shakes.
Yeah.
When he like,
he's like Shakespeare, right?
Oh, okay.
Because he's like talking in riddles and rhymes the whole time.
I thought it was just like he's got the shakes.
He's constantly talking about being in plays.
But like his one job is to after 5 minutes you set off the explosives to blow up the lights. After 50 minutes, and of course he drops the thing in the sewer grate, and it's just like me and you, Ian, were laughing.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting the first one. Then the second one. He pulls out a gun. It's that's clever.
Yeah.
And again, it's both of those are setups and payoffs because the Punisher gave him that knife, put in his lapel just in case he needed it. Here's the gun, right? When he's going to shake his hand, he's like, here's the gun.
So you're saying this is a good movie then?
I'm saying there's some spectacular writing.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
It's I don't know if it's accidental or if somebody knew a little bit
about writing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what we need? To set some things up and then pay them off later.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess the question is, Ian, are you going to watch more Punisher films because of this movie?
Well, if another Punisher film shows up on the list,
It will.
well then, yeah, I kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of my job here.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not going to dread it,
Okay.
but not like it'll be in spite of what we saw tonight.
Sure. Okay.
There's so much wrong with this film, but it was hilariously wrong.
Sure.
And you go far enough in one direction and you pop out the other side. Something gets bad enough, well, now it's good. There's a reason why people watch The Room, and it's not because it's a good movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Josh, is
Yeah,
this
it's
like
the
The Room?
experience. Not maybe quite that
Not that
level,
bad. Come
but
on, yeah.
it's the same feeling. Like it was
Some.
a lot of fun watching it with you guys, watching it with the crowd. Like it was a fun movie experience. And if the next few Punisher movies are this level of like campy and fun, they won't be. Then I'll have fun watching those ones too. I would rather watch a movie like this than half of the movies that we've watched on the list.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing: is I've seen the other Punisher movies, and this is the worst. So that's a good sign. But I also got to
Right.
give a shout out to the comics. Go out right now and read the Garth Ennis Punisher Max comics. Those are the best ones. Punisher has never been my favorite character, but those are definitely the best. And I'm looking forward to the new. I think there's a revival coming, right? The TV series. I think there is.
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
So there's some potential to this character as long as you have a good writer. But here's the thing: is that this was a Marvel film. The next Marvel film we're going to do eventually is Captain America. But before we do that,
man.
we're going to be reviewing. Wait, what's our next Taped Crusaders film?
Something Hulk related, isn't
Yes. It's
Oh my gosh!
next
I
Hulk.
believe it's the return of the Incredible Hulk, if not the trial of the Incredible Hulk.
it? No, I think it's the trial of the Incredible
because
Hulk.
we're
I
filming
remember
these
seeing
out of
that.
order.
Right.
Yeah, filming these out of order.
Actually, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Since you mentioned the Incredible Hulk, when we're talking about giant beefcake men
Yes.
in superhero films, are you Dolph Lundgren or Lou Ferrigno? If they were fighting, which would you take in a fight?
Oh, that's a good. Oh, you know what? I say Lou Ferrigno.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's bigger and stronger. Although apparently Dolph Lundgren put Carl Weathers in the hospital during the filming of
Really?
Rocky IV.
Seriously?
Carl Weathers, who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he put him in the
Sadly.
hospital, and like they had to have a talking. They had to give him a talking to. Because
I was gonna say Lou Ferrigno is gigantic, but I feel like
Carl Weathers.
I don't know.
Wait, Lou Ferrigno. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Lou Ferrigno is gigantic, but I feel like he'd be too lumbering. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I feel like
interesting.
He'd
Interesting.
spend too
like-
much time flexing his muscles.
Yeah.
Yes, interesting. Okay, that's a
Yeah,
good question.
I don't know if he's had as much time training like martial arts and stuff.
But has Dolph Lundgren? Yeah,
I'm assuming,
I don't know.
right?
Well, because of this movie, because of what he did in this
Oh,
movie?
I mean, just because of like
because of throwing the ninja stars and
yeah. This isn't real.
yeah.
He's got a fantastic aim with those knives.
Yeah.
He never missed once.
And I love how like it's like he throws them and then just cuts to the shot of the knife's already in the hand. It's like oh
Yeah.
I love that. Anyway, okay, we've said enough about this movie. Go out and see it. It's awesome.
We'll
Go-
see it with some
See the
people though.
theaters
Yeah.
now.
Go to your
depressing
local
watch on its own.
video store and buy it on Blu-ray.
What's a video
Pay money
store?
for it. I don't even know. Yeah, rent it. Whatever you have to do. We'll be doing some other movies soon. Again, we're kind of taping these out of order, but we'll be doing Hulk. We'll be doing Superboy. We'll be doing.
Starting the 90s soon.
So we're almost at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
that's
that's
coming
gonna
up
be
soon. It's gonna be fun.
exciting. Yeah.
And also Dick Tracy. So
Ooh.
subscribe to this channel, hit like, do all the things.
Darkman is also early 2000s, right?
We didn't want to
2001?
spoil it. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
Okay.
But Josh is going to tell you all about our podcast.
Yeah, you can find all of our stuff over on our website at the comicbooksyndicate.com. All of our stuff is also on YouTube under the same name. Please leave us a comment, a review. Let us know what you guys think about the podcast, the stuff we're talking about, movies, TV shows, comics, all the good stuff. Keep in touch. Let's keep that comics conversation going.
And be sure to come out to Meteor
That's
every
right.
Wednesday
Every Wednesday.
for movie night with Champ Ian.
And us, and you guys
and
too.
And us, we're here too. Sometimes it's
We're all here.
superhero movies. Sometimes it's Wild at Heart. Sometimes
David
it's
Lynch every once in a while.
Road Warrior. It's Mean Girls. Whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
So be sure to join us for that.
Yeah, check out the Meteor and the Comic Book Syndicate Facebook page as well to get up-to-date events and things that are currently happening, because we're taping these ahead of time and like setting them out. What we're going to be talking about right now isn't what's going to be playing right now.
So on that note, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.